So who do y'all think is the most hated or the biggest villain right now? Is it Elon Musk or is it Trump? And I think I figured out why Trump has him around. For that reason. He wants him to be hated more than him. Just speculation. But we're going to get to everything. Y'all know how this goes, man. Question everything. You should. And remember, this is for entertainment purposes only. Let's get to it. Now that's a bad day when you got to show up to work and it's look like hundreds of protesters out there saying you got to go. Like, I know they put on like this doesn't bother them, but this has to bother them, bro. This is crazy, man.
TikTok, this is not true. This is not facts, okay? But guys, what if this whole makeup thing is because they wanted to cover the skin or the fake skin just to walk amongst us? I read about it. Makeup, you know, you put the face so you could serve some type of god and goddesses and all that stuff. I get it, right? But you have to realize how much they pushing this. Some of you guys do not need makeup. All you're doing is you are destroying your skin because it doesn't belong to you, okay? It belongs to them because they need it, all right? So, please, I know it's a big fashion statement and all that stuff, but what if this is where it belongs? Because they need it. Sunscreen, you get it? I'm just saying, man. All these things they got you guys using, and then you realize it does something bad to your body. It might be good for them. It might not be good for you. That's all I'm saying, what if?
Why did he just implant that in my brain? Because now I'm going to be looking at people who have all this makeup on. You know, the ones that just do it, overdo it. I'm going to be like, what are they? Are they trying to hide the fact? They trying to hide that's a reptilian. That's an alien. That's an alien. Like, you're going to have me. Oh my gosh. Why did he do that to my brain?
What if the Earth isn't real, but rather we're living in a controlled biodome? Think about this for a minute. Every ancient civilization has talked about this. A firmament above us, something that's separating us from everything else. NASA even tried to break in the 60s with Operation Fishbowl. What were they really trying to hit? Why do rockets curve rather than going straight up? Why are there reports of strange ripples in the sky? Could it be that space isn't an endless void, but rather the ceiling to our enclosure? If we're inside of an enclosure, right, someone had to have built it, but who? Was it an ancient, advanced civilization, or even aliens? Or are we just an experiment in a massive simulation? Is this a real-life Truman Show? Are we prisoners inside of a system that is just too big to see?
So I want to talk about the complete and utter bull when it comes to insurance companies. I'm specifically speaking about home and auto insurance right now. So my policy is set to renew, and they've decided, even though I've done nothing, that they're going to jack my rates up another $25 each, so a total of like $50 more for the same coverage that I never use in the first place. Let's start with the auto insurance, okay? Because I don't sign up for the little spy app where they monitor all your driving and your braking and your acceleration, because I refuse to be spied on. I refuse to be tracked, traced, and monitored. So tell me why the they're doing it anyway. They told me part of the reason why my rate is going up is because I have more mileage on my Jeep. Duh! That's what the a vehicle is for, to drive and put miles on it. And if I have more miles on it, wouldn't that reduce the value, therefore reducing the amount I have to pay? Nope, apparently not. You want to know how they know what my mileage is on my Jeep? Because when I go to take my oil change in, the shop reports your mileage to the insurance companies. Well, probably Nexus, Lexus, and they report to all the insurance companies. So regardless, if I consent to be spied on, I'm still being spied on. And so are you. I would highly suggest not willingly signing up to be spied on with their stupid app. Because 9 times out of 10, they're going to use your driving recorded history and find a reason to charge you more for it anyway. Okay, now let's talk about homeowners insurance now. Now, since I live in a rural area, I can only find like 2 insurance companies total that will even insure my house. You know why? Because I live too far away from a fire department. You know how far away I live from a fire department? 5.8 miles, and it's a 55-mile-per-hour highway the whole way from the fire station to here. They would be here in 5 minutes, and they have been here in 5 minutes for the other 2 neighbors' houses right beside me that have burned down in the past few years. There's also another fire department that's 6.2 miles away, and both of them come whenever there's a fire. They're here within minutes, but it's just a reason to nickel and dime you and charge you more. Now, we built this house, the pole barn garage, and the cabin ourselves, not hiring contractors and everything, so we saved a lot of money, pretty much just cost of materials. We built everything, all 3 structures, for about $110,000. We only owe about $65,000, yet they make us insure it for 10 times the amount. They make us insure it for $650,000. Why? When I only owe $65,000, you know they're not concerned about me, if I get a new home or not. All they're concerned about is if the banks get their money, if this was to be a total loss. And if it was a total loss, I've learned from my mistakes. God, a 2,800 square foot house, you would think, is a mansion to these insurance companies. If this ever burnt down, I wouldn't have to run the electric again. I wouldn't have to do the septic again, the city water. I wouldn't have to pay for any of this again. That's already there. Also, the slab that the house is built on is already here. And I would not build a 2-story next time. I would build a ranch on what slab is here and just make the house a lot smaller. That way, they can't me out of my house due to property taxes and insurance, especially in my elderly years. I would just build a smaller house and call it a day.
Because remember, this is what people in California were dealing with, or currently are dealing with. The cost of materials outran the insurance policy. So now they're not going to be able to get the like, oh my, it's just a scam when you think about it, man. Because now what it costs to build that house is obviously more. So they're not going to get what they will get to replace their home. So it's like, why do I even have it?
God, I thought building your dream home would be something good, but they're going to end up taking it from us eventually because they're running us out of our own house. They're pricing us out, and they're doing it to all of us, and I'm sick of it. Insurance is a scam, and don't let them spy on you.
It is definitely a scam, it seems to me. It seems like it's a scam, bro. And like the fact that you have to try to like fight them to get them to pay out. Why? You get this payment on time every time it's due. But as soon as something happens, I have to go into I don't know. I just have to get into this war mode with y'all back and forth about receiving what I should be receiving. And then they are not held accountable. Oh, let's not even talk about that. They name should be Teflon Don. Nobody holds them accountable. So it's like, man, yeah. Trying to get them to pay out is like going through the gauntlet.
I'm so upset right now. My dad died December the 6th. And the last time I saw him, he was drinking one of these. He told me he was doing it because he didn't like the food. These Cisco Imperial shakes are like supplements that they serve at like hospitals and long-term care facilities. And like old people drink them. And I know that y'all seen them before. I know. My dad went to sleep and never woke up. Now he had prostate cancer. But now I'm starting to wonder because I'm looking at the state map. If you have somebody in long-term care, short-term care, if you have somebody drinking these, please check in on them, throw them out. Make sure that they are not distributing them at that facility anymore. I am so angry right now. I don't know what to do. Because he was literally drinking that chocolate one on video. And he was drinking at least 1 or 2 of them mugs a day. And the very last time I talked to him, he said his stomach hurt. I don't even know what to say.
All right, the company name is Firefly. I think it is. Let me see. Texas startup company Firefly Aerospace made history. Firefly Aerospace. Look them up. Look them up. Because if this is real and they really did this, maybe this company IPOs goes public. Might be a good investment. I don't know. We might need to keep an eye out for this one. Because I've been keeping my eye out for Space Link and different ones and stuff like that. So something to think about.
Right now, the Vatican reporting that Pope Francis has presented 2 episodes of acute respiratory failure as he now remains in the hospital for the 18th day.
It's hard to say whether or not he's getting better or worse. I know that we understand that he's in technically a guarded state, but these are, in fact, critical events. If I were to hear these as a physician working in the ICU, I would immediately get up and examine the patient. So he suffered from acute respiratory failure. That essentially means that the patient's body is not responding to the intervention. Their oxygen level isn't getting to that high 95%, 100% that you wanted to, despite the aggressive oxygen intervention that you're getting. And one of the reasons can be due to a blockage, for example, to fluid in the lung, which is what they noted here, that required deep suctioning via a bronchoscopy, where we pass a tube into the lung and we suction out that fluid to hopefully allow aeration and oxygenation. The goal is in the delicate lung space to provide that oxygen, and then for that oxygen to transfer into blood to then provide that patient with the appropriate supply. Now, in this case, it seems as though he responded, thankfully, but in these cases, we closely monitor patients after these critical events because, as you've learned so far, these stages can change hour by hour, if not minute by minute.
One by one, community members had their handwritten letters notarized and tucked in an envelope to send to the court.
The goal is for the judges, the politicians, and anyone locally with influence and power to know that the community stands by this resident.
This resident being Emine Emanet. She and her husband, Jalal Emanet, are Turkish citizens who were arrested by ICE on Tuesday. The federal agency says the pair are in the country illegally. The couple owns Jersey Kebabs on Haddon Avenue. Jalal was released from custody and placed on an ankle monitor. Emine remains in custody. Members set up a letter writing campaign Sunday on behalf of Emine Emanet. Dozens of people packed into a yoga studio just down the street from the kebab business.
Emil's a great person, runs a great business here on Haddon Ave that we eat at frequently, has done a lot, especially through COVID, caring for members of the community.
Their business is a beloved establishment that brings both delicious food and beautiful culture that enriches the community.
We have a lot of folks that have traveled a long ways to be here. This is really Oakley's Town Hall. I'm going to try to focus on their questions. I'm going to say this one time. If you all keep cutting me off, if you're rude, which you're being, I'm going to leave. The people from Oakley's don't deserve this. Thank you. All right. Can we see a raise hand? Okay, this is what I'm talking about right here, that if you're going to keep interrupting me, we're not going to do this.
Percentage of those people, and I know you care about the veterans, are veterans. And that is shame.
Yeah.
That is. I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about the veterans.
Well, I yielded to one of my elders, and I appreciate his comments. I think it's a great. I'm not gonna. We don't have time for everyone to stand up. I do got 2 more commitments today. Appreciate everybody making the drive out, and God bless America. Thank you. We have a lot.
And I thought they were supposed to like stop doing these town hall meetings because they turned into like the WWE. It's crazy. They were literally booing him on the way out, man. People are frustrated. It is at an all-time high right now. Dude stood up. He was like, I'm not a Democrat, but I'm worried about what's happening to the veterans is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are upset right now with what's happening. People with the federal workers, the veterans, different things like that. And they're on both parties. Both parties. Like, we already talked about what was happening with that company and how they were supplying the kids to the food and different things so they could stay alive. Like, things that human beings care about, not people who are just care about it because they're a Democrat or a Republican. No, real human beings that care about people like the veterans and federal workers that are losing their jobs. They're upset. So much so that these town hall meetings, man, I'm telling you, bro, just go and look at what happened at some of these town hall meetings, man. They at some point, like they said, they told them to stop, but if they keep having them, they're gonna need security.
I'm so upset. Oh, fuck. Baby. Please record this. What the f is going on, man?
Hurry, baby. What if we can't get out? Hurry, baby. Hurry.
Wait. What the I don't know what's going on with you.
Dogs on the run after a break-in at the San Bernardino Animal Shelter. Someone used bolt cutters to break into the shelter and release several dogs. You can see those dogs running outside the building. San Bernardino police raced into action, taking a woman into custody and tracking down most of the dogs. 4 were found in a nearby dumpster. 1 dog is still missing, a Chihuahua named Louise. Dogs on the run.
Yo, they look like they had just got, well, technically they did just get busted out of prison. That was Prison Break right there. Who is this? Who is this lady? And what? I get it. I get it, though. I get it, man. If you've been to a shelter, some of these shelters are great. Let me say that. Some of the shelters are great. But if you've been to some shelters, you'd be like, you understand why she went old Prison Break, Michael Schofield type style and let them dogs out. I get it.
A frantic wave for help as a fire engine drives by just moments before Juan Sanchez is gunned down. The 48-year-old husband, father, and grandfather was shot and killed earlier this week in front of his Inglewood home when he tried to stop thieves from stealing his neighbor's catalytic converter. One of the thieves threatening him with a metal bar. They exchange words as the fire truck, believed to be LA County, drives by with its lights on. Sanchez trying desperately to get their attention. Just after the truck turns the corner, the gunshot rings out.
My brother frantically waved them down and they drove past my brother, and about 2 seconds later he was shot in the chest.
Sanchez, who worked for Clean Harbors, was the sole supporter for his family, his wife recovering from breast cancer.
We have many more questions. So from the criminals just finding justice, from the fire department, why didn't you stop? Or why didn't you return as soon as you heard the gunshot when you were at the end of the block?
Hey, condolences to the family, first and foremost, you know what I mean? But as a person who worked for a fire department, they have an obligation to get to that fire. Number one. Number two, they don't handle these situations. Now, they can notify PD, but they're on their way to a fire. So if and I always say we, like I still work there, but if we're on the way to a fire and there's another fire happening, we still have to continue to where we're obligated to go in that truck. You radio to Central and say, hey, we saw this along the way, and they'll get somebody else dispatched. Now, could they have done that? Absolutely. They could have probably hit Central and been like, okay, we just seen this, a guy waving us down. Can you have either an officer? We don't look like we saw a fire. Can you have an officer dispatched to whatever that address was, right? Or they might not even have seen him. Now, that's part two. They might not have seen him. What are they doing in the back? You don't know if they came from somewhere they were sitting down eating and the tone dropped and they got the call that came in. So if that happens, then they're getting dressed on the way to the fire, which means they're putting on pants, gear. The pack is in the seat. They're putting that on, strapping up, putting on a face mask. They can't really see that well to be able to see that far. They're putting on a mask. Everybody except the driver. You know what I mean? It's certain things that's going on. They're also listening for the information that's coming back from Central as to what's happening at the fire so they can get their minds prepared for what they're going into. Is there anybody trapped inside the home? All right. Is it threatening any structures? All right. Is it this? It's so much going on. People think they're just sitting back there twiddling their thumbs. They're not. They're getting focused on what they're about to do and how to attack and game plan for what they're about to deal with. People forget this is a dangerous situation they're headed into. Dangerous. So you have to be focused, attentive, and understanding and thinking about everything and relying on your training to do what you need to do to make it home safe. Now, I get it. What they just went through is very, very traumatic here on this, but you can't blame the fire department, bro. No, you can't do that.
If you're just here for the pizza reviews, keep it moving. I had to talk about this meeting with Zelensky, Trump, J.D. Vance at the White House. Felt like I was watching Bravo TV. But I think Trump and Vance handled this as well as they could. Like, we're not going to just get steamrolled by Zelensky at the expense of getting a deal done. And if that means we have to throw a couple flowers at Putin, so be it.
I'm not sure why they're always playing the victim card. That doesn't really speak to America. We're not victims. We're tough people. We're patriots. So if they want to come tonight, we've heard that they're going to bring people that have lost their jobs. Yeah, you get fired. You get fired when you don't show up to work. You get fired when you are taking taxpayer dollars and you're not working for the federal government.
Hi, my name is Marian Rodriguez Soto.
My name is Daniel Leckie.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kelsey Hopland.
My name is Erin Lovick.
My name is Taylor Lawrence.
Hi, my name is Phil Mathias.
My name is Emily Connor, and for the last 11 months, I was employed by the Federal Transit Administration as a grants management specialist.
I've had the honor of working in my dream job as a historic preservation specialist for the General Services Administration.
I started working with the FAA in October 2024 as a Great Lakes Community Engagement Officer.
I'm a former soil conservationist with the Natural Resources Conservation Service.
And I was a health science policy analyst at the National Institute of Aging, a division of the NIH that focuses on Alzheimer's disease and related dementias.
I was a fish and wildlife biologist for the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, New York Ecological Services Field Office.
I worked at the National Cancer Institute as the Chief Technology Officer and Deputy Director in the Division of Cancer Prevention. My role was to bring innovative technologies in this space to help come up with new ways to prevent cancers and to come up with ways to help manage the data that comes from these large-scale screening trials that we do to make it as available, accessible, and usable to the broader communities as possible.
If you've ever seen a news story about a major federal agency, those might be my buildings in the background. Without historic preservation specialists across government, there would be no one to ensure our nation's most important historic buildings, structures, monuments, and sites are protected from ill-conceived government actions that carelessly degrade them.
It was my job to work directly with public transportation agencies to make sure that they could get access to federal funding that they are entitled to by law. And now that we have so few people doing that job at the Federal Transit Administration, I really don't know how our public transportation agencies are going to stay afloat.
I went into public service because after running a research lab for 20 years, I wanted to make research more impactful and available to broader communities.
Working with the USDA has been a dream of mine since my childhood in Puerto Rico. Combining my love for the natural world while also supporting real people like farmers has been incredibly rewarding.
The reason why I got into public service was to ensure the survival of species such as these, and to eventually see them recover and become delisted from the Endangered Species Act.
Because I believe science should be accessible, equitable, and communicated clearly. I wanted to leverage my expertise to improve the health of everyday Americans, and I'm heartbroken by the loss of this opportunity.
I've always wanted my job to matter, and I've always wanted the work I do to make a difference rather than just making money for somebody else.
I've always found value working directly for the people. I'm proud to protect your heritage for your children and grandchildren.
I went into it because I'm a helper. I want to help people. I also am an American, just like you. This is our country, and I want to help make our country as great as it can be.
The work lets me make a lasting impact not only on the land, but also within my community.
I've been honored to be in the roles that I have been in public sector work, and I will continue to do so because at the end of the day, public service means serving the public.
We read in Politico that Ontario Premier Doug Ford threatened to shut off his province's electricity exports to the United States and block shipments of Ontario's high-grade nickel, which he said provides 50% of U.S. supplies. This is per the Globe and Mail. He added, if they want to try to annihilate Ontario, I will do anything, including cutting off their energy. This is energy to the United States, with a smile on his face.
See? Now, before they were saying they wouldn't go that far, now they saying they will. Which one is it? This is what I keep being worried about right here.
With us now is the man, I guess, behind that smile, Doug Ford, the Premier of Ontario in Canada. Premier, thank you so much for being with us. Okay, what are your plans and how far are you willing to take it?
Well, first of all, I have to tell you, Canadians love Americans. We love the U.S. It's one person that's causing these problems. I've talked to senators and congresspeople and governors, Republicans and Democrats. Not one of them agree with them. I've talked to business CEOs of the largest companies. They totally disagree with this. And President Trump ran on a mandate to lower costs, to create more jobs. This is going to do exactly the opposite. The auto sector, we buy over 400% more autos than Mexico, 200% more than anywhere in the world. And you know, he put up a smoke screen, he keeps moving the goalposts. Well, the market is speaking loud and clear. The market is going to go downhill faster than the American bobsled team, and we're going to continue seeing in the U.S. plants close, assembly lines shut down. In the auto sector, they may last 5, maybe 8 days before the parts that go back and forth across the border 8 times. This is unnecessary. And we do have to retaliate. And I apologize to the American people. It's not you. It's your president that's causing this problem. We're the #1 customer in the world to the United States. We had a great relationship. I want to continue on with that relationship. But I will use every tool in our toolbox to send a message to President Trump that this is the wrong thing to do. When Warren Buffett comes out and says this is basically insanity, you have to listen to someone like Warren Buffett.
So some of the thinking inside the administration goes something along the lines of, in the United States, we can withstand more pain than you can in Canada. So how much pain can you withstand here?
Well, we have the lowest debt in the G7. The United States have more debt than anyone. He wants to come and get a tax break, put a tax break through. He's relying on 2 Congress people. He loses 2 people. That's it. These tax breaks aren't going. And he's doing this on the backs of the American people. He's going to create job losses. Inflation's going up. The market's dropping. Gas prices are going up. Groceries are going up. For what? We have a very fair trading balance. And if we exclude the energy, the oil that we ship down 4.3 million barrels a day to keep cars going, the U.S. has a $55 billion surplus on everything else, on manufacturing, and I'm fine with that. 55 billion is fine, but we're your #1 customer to 28 states. Have directed our office to take off all the alcohol. We're the largest purchaser of alcohol in the world. We sell to 30, we buy from 35 states, 3,600 products, over $1 billion. They're coming off. We directed our team to pull off the $30 billion of contracts and not use any American companies. And again, I apologize to the American people, but the red states, the people have to start calling their senators, their governors, and congresspeople to stop this insanity that one person's causing.
What do you understand the demands to be? On the one hand, we've heard over the last few weeks it's cracking down on the border, going after fentanyl distribution. Now the president is saying he wants much of the manufacturing returned to the United States. What do you think the ask is?
Well, you can't, in the auto sector, and no one knows what the ask is. It depends on what he wakes up and eats in the morning, and that changes. The auto sector, you can't unscramble an egg that's been made since the 1960s in the auto pack and expect plants to just open up. We buy as many cars as we sell down to the U.S. It's been working. It's a great system that we have right now with all the auto sectors, but it'll only last 8 to maybe 10 days at the max, and then you're going to see auto plants being shut down. I wish we knew what the president wanted. We need to sit down and move forward on the USMCA and put this behind us.
I just got to ask you, very briefly, how upset, how mad are Canadians? Aren't usually the types to.
You shouldn't even have to ask that question. They've literally been booing us at games, booing our national anthems. I'd go on a limb and say they're pretty mad. I'd just take a guess.
To get angry, but how mad are Canadians this morning?
They're absolutely livid. They're furious because we look at the United States as our family. We're one big family. We've stood shoulder to shoulder in wars and every other crisis there is. We love the American people, but unfortunately, the president has gone sideways on ourselves. And, we power, Ontario powers 1.5 million homes and businesses in New York, in Michigan, in Minnesota. I've talked to all 3 governors. I want to ship more electricity. I want to send more critical minerals, but I will not hesitate to use every tool in our toolbox to protect Ontarians and Canadians across the board. I've never seen patriotism run so wild across our country. Right down to the grocery aisles, people refuse to buy American products. This is not right. We love America, we love the people, and the president needs to be stopped. Simple as that.